Welcome to Cheetah Secrets. Let's dive into today's story. When people ask how I first crossed paths with Andrea, I usually stick to the polished version, a friend's housewarming party. The real story is much simpler. She was leaning against the kitchen counter, swirling a glass of white wine and laughing far harder than the joke deserved. What struck me wasn't the laugh. It was the way she carried herself. Confident. In command. She didn't join conversations. She steered them. We started seeing each other shortly after that. Andrea had a gift for compliments, but she had an even bigger talent for suggestions. "You should dress a little nicer," she'd say with a smile, like she was helping me. Back then, I brushed it off. I thought she was driven, maybe a bit demanding, but I admired her energy. 4 years later, we were engaged and building a wedding that could have been ripped from a luxury magazine spread. And by we, I mean I was paying for almost everything. Venue, catering, photographer. My bank account covered it all. Andrea liked to manage things, scrolling through lists, selecting what she wanted, then claiming wedding planning was too stressful for her. On the surface, our families got along. My mother liked Andrea's spirit, though she once whispered that Andrea spoke like she was giving a TED Talk. My friends mostly stayed quiet, and I mistook their silence for approval. 2 months before the wedding, we were eating takeout at the dining table. I told her the band had officially confirmed for the reception. "Finally," she said without looking up from her phone. "I thought you forgot." I told her everything was set. She nodded, still glued to her screen. Moments like that added up, small stings you don't feel until later. The tone, the dismissive shrug, the half-hearted thank yous. Not enough to fight about, but enough to put space between us. I convinced myself it was normal. That same night, she posted a photo with a caption, "Can't wait to marry my best friend." It looked perfect. The truth wasn't anywhere in the picture. 2 weeks passed, and Andrea brought it up as casually as reading a weather report. We were having dinner when she suddenly said, "So, about my bachelorette trip." I looked up. "What about it?" "I've decided Vegas is boring," she said, twirling her fork. Megan came up with something better. "Europe. Just the girls. 2 weeks. We leave next Thursday." I froze. "Europe? For 2 weeks? Andrea, the wedding is in 6. She shrugged like it was nothing. "Still plenty of time. Think of it as my last big adventure before married life." That phrasing hit wrong. "Who's going?" I asked. She paused, just half a second, but long enough. "Megan, Clara, and Liam." I set my fork down. "Liam." She nodded casually, though her eyes flicked once, brief but telling. "Yeah, he's part of the friend group. Not inviting him would feel weird." "Your ex-boyfriend." She groaned. "Harold, stop making things dark. Liam and I dated ages ago. We're just friends." I stared at her. "And you don't see anything wrong with going across Europe for 2 weeks with your ex right before our wedding?" She leaned back, arms folded. "This is insecurity talking. I can't live my life tiptoeing around your feelings. We're adults. You should trust me." "It's not about trust," I said quietly. "It's about respect." Her expression hardened. "Don't start acting controlling. I'm not going to be one of those wives who need permission to breathe." The room went still. Finally, I nodded. "All right, Andrea. Do whatever you want." She immediately softened, misreading my calm as compliance. "Thank you, babe. I knew you'd get it." I gave a small smile. "Have a safe flight." She kissed my cheek and returned to her phone. I finished dinner silently, already planning my next steps. The next morning, she hummed in the shower while I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open, staring at the wedding budget spreadsheet. I had transferred $3,500 to her the week before for the caterer's deposit. Now I wasn't even sure the caterer had ever heard of us. First call, the venue. The lady who answered sounded professionally pleasant. When I told her I needed to cancel, she hesitated, then said she'd make an exception and refund most of the deposit. I thanked her and stared at the confirmation email. 1 step done. Next call, Jacob, my oldest friend and the closest thing I have to an on-call lawyer. When I explained the trip, he sighed. "Harold, that's not a bachelorette party. That's a walking red flag with a passport. I need proof, I said. He gave me a number. Call Miriam. Private investigator. Smart, discreet, pricey, but the real deal. Miriam was calm and direct. I can't follow her out of the country, she said, but I can track bookings, monitor activity, and get help from local contacts. You'll know what she's doing soon. Do it, I told her. That evening, Andrea returned from shopping, dropping bags onto the couch. Found the perfect travel outfit, she said cheerfully. Can't go to Paris looking basic. Of course not, I replied, closing my laptop. She sat next to me, smiling. You're being so chill about this. I was scared you'd act weird. I smiled back. Nothing to worry about. She kissed me lightly. This is why I love you. You trust me. I nodded. Yeah, I do. She didn't notice my phone buzzing with Miriam's first update. Andrea and Liam had reserved 2 adjoining hotel rooms under the same booking, 6 weeks earlier. Andrea flew out that Thursday. At the airport, she kissed me goodbye. Text me when you get home. I watched her disappear into the crowd with her suitcase. By the time the plane landed overseas, Miriam had already sent me a full report. Flights, hotels, plans. The first hotel stood out. Grand Aria Boutique Hotel, Barcelona. 2 rooms. 1 reservation. Liam's name. A few days later, Miriam's contact overseas sent pictures. Andrea and Liam walking close together in a busy plaza. Andrea and Liam having dinner by candlelight. No Megan. No Clara. Not once. I called Miriam. You're certain? Shared breakfast charges. Same floor. And this. Another photo. Andrea holding Liam's hand across a cafe table. That night, Andrea texted, "The architecture here is unreal. Miss you." I replied, "Looks amazing. Enjoy." She sent a selfie from a rooftop restaurant. No one else visible, but Liam's reflection was in the window behind her. More updates came over the next week. New cities, same story. Meals, beaches, museums, and always Liam beside her. When Jacob checked in, I told him everything. She used some of the wedding funds. I added the $3,500 for the caterer. They never got it. Jacob exhaled. We can file a civil claim for misuse of funds. Maybe fraud. Do you want to go that far? I want consequences, I said. Start gathering proof, he replied. We'll take care of the legal side. The next morning, Andrea video called me from what looked like a hotel bed. Her hair was messy, her voice cheerful. Hey, babe, miss you. Everything okay? Yeah, I said. Just handling things here. Good. Don't stress about the wedding. I'll be home before you know it. I'm counting on it, I answered, and I was just not for the reason she thought. 2 weeks later, Andrea's flight landed at 4:45 p.m. She had texted me the day before. Pick me up? I wrote back. Wish I could. Busy. Grab a ride? Then, wow, she had no idea. While she thought I was at the office, Jacob and I stood at the arrival gate, each holding a thin envelope. Andrea walked out wearing sunglasses and a fresh tan, laughing with Liam. Too close. Too familiar. When she noticed me, her smile collapsed. Harold. Jacob stayed quiet. I approached them slowly. Welcome back. Her voice was uneasy. What are you doing here? I needed to give you something. I handed her the envelope. You're being served. Civil claim for misused funds and misrepresentation. Andrea stared at the documents like the words might rearrange themselves. What is this? The $3,500 I gave you for the caterer, I said calmly. You spent it on flights and hotels with your ex. That's fraud. Her mouth opened, then shut. You're crazy. It was a group trip. Group? I looked at Liam. Strange. Only one friend ever appeared in a single photo. The rest looked more like honeymoon snapshots. Liam stepped forward. Man, you're overreacting, Liam muttered. I turned to him slowly. You were part of the mess, Liam. You can walk out of it now. Andrea's face went bright red. You actually had me followed. I tracked where my money went, I replied. People nearby started slowing down, pretending they were scrolling their phones while clearly listening in. Andrea's voice broke. You can't do this here. I already did, I said. The wedding is done. All of it. She darted her eyes around in panic, then whispered harshly, You're humiliating me. I met her stare. You manage that on your own. Jacob and I turned and walked away, leaving her frozen by the gate with a legal envelope she never imagined she'd be holding. Behind us, her voice climbed higher, sharp and cracking. I didn't look back. Some endings don't need a farewell. They just need paperwork. The following days felt like the quiet after storm, still, steady, unnervingly peaceful. My phone, however, refused to rest. Calls, texts, voicemails, one after another. Andrea bounced between sobbing and screaming. You embarrass me in front of everyone. We should talk like adults. You're destroying everything over nothing. I answered none of it. Jacob told me to keep every message. Let her keep talking, he said. Each text is just more proof. Then came the banging on my door. 3 nights after she returned, Andrea showed up outside my apartment, pounding hard enough to shake the hall. She screamed that I'd ruined her future. I recorded everything from the inside, phone steady in my hand. When a neighbor threatened to call the police, she finally left, crying so loudly that for a moment I almost pitied her. Almost. The next morning, friends began checking in. Andrea had already told her version, that I was a jealous, controlling fiancé who exploded because she went on a trip. Bentley called wanting to hear the truth. She said you blew up over her vacation, he said. Did she mention her ex was on that vacation? I asked. Silence. No. Did she mention she used my money to pay for it? Another pause. No. I'll send you something. 10 minutes later, he had one of Miriam's photos, Andrea and Liam walking hand in hand through a European plaza. He didn't answer for an hour. Then, yeah, okay, I understand now. Words started to shift after that. The sympathy she tried to gather dissolved fast. Her family contacted mine. Her mother insisted I'd gone too far. My mom ended it with one sentence. Your daughter took her ex across Europe using my son's bank account. Address that first. The line went dead. Meanwhile, Jacob kept pushing the case forward. Bank statements confirmed everything. Andrea had transferred wedding fund to a travel agency, booked hotels under her name, and even sent Liam money through payment apps. Every lie she'd told had a digital footprint. By the end of the second week, her lawyer caved. They offered a settlement. Andrea would repay the $3,500 in monthly installments and sign a written admission that she misused the funds. I agreed. It was never about the money. It was about truth, and she finally had to face it. News spread fast. The moment legal letters showed up, Liam disappeared from her life. Megan and Clara stopped returning her messages. For the first time, Andrea had to face the consequences without someone smoothing the damage behind her. 3 months slipped by. My life became calm again, predictable, structured, quiet. The apartment felt larger, lighter. I kept my routines. Gym before work, coffee at the same corner shop, no chaos. One Saturday, I ran into Bentley at a cafe. He'd heard Andrea move back in with her parents. She's been laying low, he said. Barely posts anything anymore. I nodded, probably for the best. He studied me for a moment. So you're just done with it. Letting go is simple when you realize what you barely avoided. A week later, a letter appeared in my mailbox. Her handwriting froze me for a second before I even opened it. Harold, I know I don't deserve a reply. I just want you to understand. I never meant for things to spiral. I thought I could stay friends with Liam, that nothing would cross the line. I wanted excitement and stability at the same time. Instead, I destroyed everything. I'm sorry. I folded the letter, slid it back into the envelope, and put it away. No anger, no pleasure, just closure. That night, I met someone new, another Clara, oddly enough, a friend of Bentley's co-worker. We talked for hours. When she asked about my last relationship, I told her everything. She didn't flinch. At least you didn't stay blind, she said. She was right. People love to claim closure comes from forgiveness. I don't believe that. Mine came from understanding, from seeing the truth clearly and choosing peace over chaos. One thing I learned: if someone calls your boundaries controlling, they're usually asking for permission to betray you, and I don't give that anymore. A year later, Andrea rarely crossed my mind. I removed everything connected to her: photos, the wedding binder, leftover boxes. Occasionally someone asked what happened. I told the real story. She said a bachelorette party was a 2-week European vacation with her ex. I told her to enjoy her trip. The rest work itself out. People always react the same way: silent shock, then a slow nod. I never needed revenge. Watching someone collapse under the weight of their own choices is its own ending. Later that week, Bentley sent me a screenshot. Andrea had posted on social media for the first time in a year, just a picture of a quiet street in her hometown with the caption, "Starting over." I felt nothing. No anger, no pride, just distance. Life kept moving. I started my own small business, hired a couple of people, and began traveling again, this time for myself. No explanations, no guilt, no permission. One night on my balcony, I remembered her saying, "Don't be controlling." It used to hurt. Now, it just sounded like the clearest warning I ever received. Andrea is gone. The lesson stayed. When people tell me I handled everything perfectly, I tell them the truth. I didn't manage her. I managed myself. That's a real ending, not revenge, not victory, just peace. Thanks for listening.